Hello dear student, I am Rajwan Singh and today I will explain the chapter 3rd remaining portion in SST. So my dear student, let's start. I have told you already some points that you remember, but today I have to explain some remaining portions that are mentioned here on the blackboard. First, formation of mountain. Second, earthquakes. And the third, measuring earthquakes and the volcanoes. We have to know about formation of mountain. How does a mountain form? And the second, earthquakes. We have to know about earthquakes, that what is earthquake and how it comes and how it works. And the third point, measuring earthquakes. How can we measure the earthquake? What is the name of this instrument? And by what way this works? In this point, we will know these things. And the next point, volcanoes. You know very well about volcanoes. I have told you in the previous classes. And in this point, we will know about volcanoes and how it does the work and how it makes the losses to the person. So, first point, formation of mountain. Usually the formation of mountain is attributed to the movement of lithospheric plates giving rise to horizontal or organic movements. Such movements result in folding and faulting of the earth's crust and are responsible for the formation of mountains. And you know what is folding? The movements of two lithospheric plates towards each other results in collision and creation of a force of comprehension, leading to the wrinkling of the rock layers of the earth's crust. You can say lithosphere. Mountains like the Appalachians in the USA, the Urals in Eurasia, and the Aravallis in India, that you know very well, were formed millions of years ago due to horizontal plate movements. And by this process they formed, but they have taken a lot of time, you can say millions of years. And the Himalayas, Rockies as old mountains, the Himalayas, Rockies, Alps and Andes are young fold mountains. As they are still be subjected to horizontal plate movements that are formed them higher even now. Peaks of the old fold mountains are rounded. They have bordered, or you can say they have gradual shapes. Then the young fold mountain while the young fold mountains exhibit pointed peaks and deep and steep valleys. And the next, that is very important point in the formation of mountains. I think you know because I have explained in the previous points. Faulting. What is faulting? You have to know this. When plates move, stresses and strains are set up in the lithosphere, giving rise to fissures. And so, my dear student, we have to know about faulting. Some points I have explained, and the next point, when there are two almost parallel faults on the earth's crust and the land between them is either uplifted or left standing, even after the surroundings areas have subsided a block, mountains formed. The uplifted part is known as horst. The uplifted part is known as horst, and the mountain and the subsided part is referred to as graben or rift valley. The Vindhya and Satpura ranges in India and Vosges and Black Forest mountains of Germany are example of block mountains. While the Death Valley in the USA is an example of Death Valley, or you can say a graben. Normal faulting occurs when the horizontal movements of rocks is tensional or in the opposite directions away from a given point. If you have given a point, the distance will be very far away. On the other hand, when the horizontal movement of the rock is compressional, reverse faulting leads to the rock strata, that is known being pushed up between two faults, leading the formation of a block, mountain, or you can say horst. Tear faults occur when the rock structure is displaced from this place laterally in opposite directions. For example, the San Andreas Fault in California. And the next point, earthquakes. What is earthquake? A sudden displacement or dissolution of the lithosphere along the boundaries causes earthquakes to occur. This displacement below the surface of the earth produces vibration or tremors that spread out in all the directions similar to the ripples created in the pool when we throw a stone into it. This is like this, and it works by this rule. Volcanic eruption. Landslides, faulting, etc., can also cause earthquakes. These happenings, deaths due to these earthquake. Minor earthquakes can also occur due to human activities like drilling, blasting, building dams, bomb explosion, etc. The point or place of origin of an earthquake under the surface of the earth is known as the focus of an earthquake. From the focus, the earthquake waves travel in all directions, and these vibrations are referred to seismic waves. These vibrations depend on the distance of a place from the epicenter, from where the earthquake starts. Epicenter is the point on the earth's surface vertically above the focus, which suffers maximum damage during the occurrence of an earthquake, because the frequency of earthquake is the highest on the point of focus. And the next point, how can we measure the earthquake? Measuring earthquakes, how can we measure the frequency of earthquake? The study of earthquake waves is called seismology. The study of the earthquake waves is called seismology, and scientists who study them are known as seismologists. A seismometer or seismograph is an instrument used to detect and measure the vibrations produced by earthquakes. The first modern seismograph was invented by John Milne, an English seismologist and geologist, in 1880. They have discovered the first seismograph, or you can say first seismometer. And the next point about the measuring earthquakes. And earthquakes may be mild or severe. The strength of an earthquake is usually measured on either the Mercalli scale or the Richter scale. Jasper Mercalli invented the Mercalli scale in 1902, which measured the intensity of the earthquake. Improved in 1931, the modified Mercalli scale makes use of observation of people who experienced an earthquake so as to estimate in people who experienced an earthquake so as to estimate its intensity. Hence, it is not considered as accurate as the Richter scale. The Richter scale ranging from 0 to 9 was developed by the American seismologist Charles Richter. Severe earthquakes which measure 6 and above on the Richter scale cause extreme destruction leading to havoc and extensive loss of life and property. Earthquakes occur along most plate margins and especially where one plate is pushed under the another. Lands bordering the Pacific Ocean, the mountain belts and the mid-oceanic region experience earthquakes the most. Several areas in India are earthquake prone, especially the Himalaya ranges, which were recently formed and are relatively unstable. And the next point, volcanoes. You know about volcanoes. A volcano can be defined as a vent or opening in the earth's crust, allowing hot magma that is called lava, volcanic ash stream, rock particles, and gases to escape from below the surface of the earth. The magma which comes out as lava along with the gases, dust and steam eventually cools and settles around the vent in layers. Forming a conical mountain. If the volcanic eruption as a fissure eruption takes place through a long crack, it is known as fissure eruption. Some famous examples of volcanoes are Mount Fujiyama in Japan, Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, and the Deccan Plateau in India. These are the most famous volcanoes. On the basis of their frequency of eruptions, volcanoes are classified into the following types: active volcanoes, dormant volcanoes, and the extinct volcanoes. These are three types of volcanoes. Many active volcanoes are present in the circular belt around the Pacific Ocean and the islands within it. This region has therefore earned the name, and this region earned the name the Pacific Ring of Fire, and the mid-continental belt which runs along the middle of Europe and Asia includes some important volcanoes like Mount Etna, Mount Vesuvius, Italy, and as volcanic activity and the earthquakes are both associated with the dissolution of the lithosphere due to plate tectonics. They mostly occur in the same places at plate margins. And the last point I want to tell you, significance of volcanoes. Besides serving as popular tourist attractions, volcanoes serve to bring to the surface and useful minerals from the interior of the earth. The magma and other material which come out as lava help increase the fertility of the soil. So my dear student, that's all for today, and we will meet in the next video. Thank you. Have a nice day.